How did a coalition of 6 Native American tribes form one of the most enduring political alliances in history, influencing the very foundations of modern democracy? The story of the Iroquois Confederacy is a powerful testament to unity, resilience, and innovation in the face of centuries of adversity. Centuries before European settlers arrived in North America, the continent was home to countless indigenous tribes. Many of these communities led semi-nomadic lifestyles, moving across vast landscapes in search of fertile hunting grounds, edible plants, and other natural resources. These tribes developed intricate societies, each with unique customs, languages, and traditions, showcasing their adaptability and deep connection to the land. However, as populations grew, competition for prime hunting and agricultural areas became fierce. This often led to violent conflicts among tribes, especially in regions rich in resources. One region where such disputes were particularly devastating was the northeastern forest, home to 5 tribes that would eventually form the Iroquois Confederacy: the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, and Seneca. These tribes, plagued by generations of retaliatory wars, sought a resolution to the cycle of violence. Around the year 600 CE, they united under the guidance of the Great Peacemaker, a figure central to Iroquois lore, creating a confederation founded on principles of mutual respect, collaboration, and governance. This alliance, known as the Haudenosaunee, or the Iroquois Confederacy, was a groundbreaking step toward unity among Native American tribes. The Confederacy expanded its influence in 1722, when the Tuscarora tribe joined as the 6th member. This league provided a powerful model of collective governance, enabling the Iroquois to maintain peace among their member nations while presenting a united front against external threats. Even so, other tribes in the region, many of whom spoke similar languages, remained outside the Confederation. The strength and unity of the Iroquois would soon be tested as new challenges loomed on the horizon. The Great Peacemaker and his teachings laid the foundation for the Great Law of Peace, a comprehensive set of principles that governed the Confederacy. This law emphasized consensus building, the importance of clan relationships, and the sanctity of peace among the member nations. The Great Law of Peace was recited in oral tradition, accompanied by wampum belts that served as symbolic records. These belts played a critical role in preserving the Confederacy's history and agreements. Through this system, the Iroquois not only resolved internal disputes, but also established a diplomatic framework for dealing with external threats and opportunities. In the mid-17th century, the Iroquois Confederacy embarked on a period of territorial expansion, driven by their need for resources, particularly beaver pelts. These pelts, essential for making hats and garments, became highly valuable as European settlers fueled a growing demand for fur in transatlantic markets. The Iroquois, armed with European firearms obtained through trade, began to dominate regions stretching from the Great Lakes to the Ohio River Valley, displacing or assimilating other indigenous groups in their quest for control over hunting grounds. This series of conflicts became known as the Beaver Wars. The Beaver Wars were marked by both brutal combat and strategic alliances. The Iroquois military campaigns forced several tribes, including the Erie, Huron, and Shawnee, to abandon their territories or submit to Iroquois dominance. These victories expanded the reach of the Confederacy, establishing the Iroquois as a formidable power in the northeastern and midwestern regions of North America. Despite their aggressive campaigns, the Iroquois also engaged in diplomacy, forming alliances with European settlers when it suited their interests. These partnerships, particularly with the Dutch and later the British, enabled the Iroquois to secure firearms and other valuable goods in exchange for furs. However, their expansionist policies came at a cost. The Iroquois' aggressive actions created new enemies, both among displaced tribes and European powers. The French, who had allied with tribes like the Huron, viewed the Iroquois as a major threat to their colonial ambition. This animosity would set the stage for future conflicts, including the French and Indian War, where the Iroquois loyalties would be tested. The Beaver Wars also highlighted the Iroquois' strategic adaptability. Their ability to leverage European technology and form temporary alliances allowed them to navigate a rapidly changing geopolitical landscape. However, the conflicts took a toll on their population, as disease and warfare depleted their numbers. To replenish their communities, the Iroquois often adopted captives from other tribes, integrating them into their society. This practice not only bolstered their population, but also underscored their resilience and resourcefulness. The Iroquois Confederacy was not only a military powerhouse, but also a beacon of sophisticated social organization and governance. At the heart of their society was the Longhouse, a communal dwelling made of saplings and covered with elm bark. These structures, often housing multiple families from the same clan, symbolized the unity and interconnectedness of Iroquois life. The phrase "people of the Longhouse" reflects this deeply ingrained cultural value. Iroquois society was matrilineal, meaning that family lineage and inheritance were traced through the mother's line. When a couple married, the groom would move into the bride's longhouse, and their children would belong to her clan. Women held significant power within Iroquois communities, particularly in agriculture and governance. They were responsible for cultivating the Three Sisters crops, corn, beans, and squash, which formed the backbone of the Iroquois diet. Moreover, women played a crucial role in decision-making, selecting male leaders to represent their clans in the Grand Council, the Confederacy's governing body. The Grand Council was an innovative political system that embodied principles of federalism, participatory democracy, and separation of power. Each member tribe of the Confederacy retained autonomy over its internal affairs, while contributing representatives to the council, where decisions were made by consensus. This model of governance inspired later political systems, including aspects of the United States Constitution. As noted by historians and leaders like Benjamin Franklin and James Madison. Honor and honor also held significant places in Iroquois culture. For men, achieving personal glory in battle was a source of self-respect and social standing. Captured prisoners of war were often adopted into Iroquois families to replace lost members, ensuring the survival and continuity of their communities. This practice, though rooted in violence, also demonstrated the Iroquois adaptability and resilience in the face of adversity. The American Revolution brought unprecedented challenges and divisions to the Iroquois Confederacy. Initially attempting to remain neutral, the Confederacy was eventually drawn into the conflict as both the British and the American colonists sought their allegiance. This internal discord fractured the unity of the Confederacy, with tribes like the Oneida and Tuscarora siding with the colonists, while the Mohawk, Seneca, and Cayuga supported the British. The war had devastating consequences for the Iroquois. In 1779, George Washington ordered the Sullivan Expedition, a brutal campaign aimed at destroying Iroquois villages and breaking their alliance with the British. Led by Colonel Daniel Brodhead and General John Sullivan, this scorched earth operation resulted in the destruction of dozens of settlements, forcing many Iroquois to flee to Canada or face starvation and displacement. The aftermath of the war left the Iroquois Confederacy severely weakened. Entire villages were burned, crops destroyed, and families scattered. Their population, already diminished by disease and warfare, was further reduced. The Sullivan expedition marked one of the darkest periods in Iroquois history, with countless cultural sites lost forever. Despite their contributions and sacrifices, the Iroquois were often abandoned by the British following their defeat in the Revolution. Promised lands and reparations were rarely delivered, leaving many tribes to face the harsh realities of a new, independent American government. Surviving Iroquois communities faced significant challenges as they navigated life under the shadow of a victorious United States. Confined to small reservations, their autonomy and traditional practices were suppressed by policies aimed at assimilation. However, many Iroquois resisted these efforts, maintaining their language, spiritual practices, and governance structures against overwhelming odds. The Iroquois Confederacy's impact extends far beyond its historical era, influencing modern governance, culture, and identity. Their principles of federalism, consensus building, and participatory democracy provided a blueprint for the founding fathers of the United States, particularly in the drafting of the Constitution. The Great Law of Peace, the Confederacy's guiding framework, remains a testament to the sophistication of Iroquois political thought. In the 19th and 20th centuries, Iroquois communities in Canada and the United States adapted to new realities while striving to maintain their cultural heritage. Settlements like Oka and Kanawak became hubs of resilience, where the Iroquois supported themselves through farming, craftsmanship, and trade. These communities also became centers of cultural preservation, hosting ceremonies, teaching traditional crafts, and reviving oral histories that had been passed down for generations. Despite challenges, including ongoing disputes over land rights and sovereignty, the Iroquois have preserved their language, traditions, and governance systems. Activism for Indigenous rights gained momentum in the 20th century, with Iroquois leaders playing pivotal roles in advocating for the recognition of native sovereignty and the return of ancestral lands. Legal battles over land claims, including those concerning the sacred sites of the Mohawk and Seneca, continue to define their struggle for justice. Today, the Iroquois serve as a symbol of Indigenous resilience and ingenuity. Their story is a reminder of the profound contributions of Native American societies to the cultural and political fabric of North America. Educational programs, museums, and collaborations between Iroquois communities and academic institutions have further amplified their voices, ensuring that their legacy is recognized and celebrated. Through education and advocacy, the Iroquois continue to inspire movements for Indigenous rights and cultural preservation worldwide. Their resilience and adaptability in the face of adversity remain a powerful testament to the enduring strength of their people and their principles. The Iroquois Confederacy's influence, from shaping democratic ideals to preserving cultural identities, stands as a cornerstone of North American history.